Welcome back, everyone, to Coffee Connections. My name is Seth Weiner. I'm your host, and I am your auctioneer. It's a little chilly outside, but hey, you know what? It's December, and it should be chilly, because if it wasn't, we'd be complaining. It's beautiful outside, though. I always say this because when I start these, I'm looking out my window, and it's so sunshiny, and it's just great. I've got some exciting news I'll share. I want to let everyone know that we've got HGA Fundraising is giving us a package, travel package that we're going to be giving away. And we're going to be doing that on, what's the date? Thursday, December 17th. Every single organization that we've had on the show is going to be on a prize wheel. We're going to spin it. And on the 17th, we're going to find out who's going to get this prize. It's a travel package that they can then use in their fundraising. So I wanted to share that with you. And again, folks, please do go to coffeeconnections.live, where all of our past episodes live so you can enjoy them. But today, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce our guest. We are going to have today Zenith Houston with Posse. Now, who is Posse? Posse Foundation. Posse started in 1989 because of one student who said, "I never would have dropped out of college if I had my posse with me." The Posse Foundation identifies public high school students with extraordinary academic and leadership potential who may be overlooked by traditional college selection processes. The foundation extends to these students the opportunity to pursue personal and academic excellence by placing them in supportive, multicultural teams, posses, if you will, of 10 students. The foundation's partner colleges and universities award Posse scholars full tuition leadership scholarships. That is just amazing. Now, Zenith is a visionary and inspired leader offering 20 plus years of expertise, driving growth and long-term sustainability for expanding national and local nonprofit organizations. Her background reflects a progressive career with extensive community-facing experience, proven to advance the mission of nonprofit organizations by galvanizing resources and nurturing enduring relationships with donors, volunteers, and strategic partners. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Zenith. Hello, Zenith.
Hello. How are you, Seth? Great to be here.
Yeah, wonderful. Wonderful. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Like you said, it's sunny outside. It's a little bit on the cooler side, but it's a good day. Look, it's the day before Friday, so that's great. That means the weekend's coming.
I looked up and I was like, it's already Thursday. That means Thanksgiving was a week ago. That means like December is blowing by already, which I think people are excited about. I mean, you know.
I think folks are eager to get to 2020 behind us, right? And to move forward into 2021. So
absolutely. Well, you know, this is Coffee Connection. So we always start by asking our guests about coffee. Are you a coffee drinker?
I am a coffee drinker, and I actually had a coffee this morning, but this afternoon I'm actually drinking some chai tea.
What's your mug say there?
My mug says "Find Your Voice." It's from Michelle Obama's book tour last year, and so one of my favorite inspirations. So
it's funny. My therapist says "Find your inner voice."
Yes, that one too. Sometimes you have to silence it, right?
So you are a coffee drinker, though. Are you? Do you prefer coffee hot or cold?
I prefer coffee hot. Yeah.
All right.
Hot coffee. I had a dirty chai, so with espresso and chai.
Okay.
It's fantastic.
And do you prefer your coffee pressed or drip?
Drip mostly, but I also appreciate a good cup of pressed coffee too.
All right. Do you use milk or cream?
Lots of cream. Let's just say I like a little bit of coffee with my cream.
Okay. Well, then what about sugar then?
No sugar. Once you put all that cream in it, you don't need any sugar.
That's right. That's right. Final question. Do you prefer your beans ground or whole beans?
Both actually, but whole beans where I can grind them myself, it's always better.
All right. Well, that's a lot of coffee information, huh?
It is, yes.
But I'm going to hand the mic over to you. Can you tell everyone, please, about Posse?
Yeah, well, I mean, Seth, you did an amazing job in the opening. of Posse, really explaining Posse. Posse has been around for 32 years, I believe now. In Atlanta, at the top of the year, we will have been here for 14 years. We opened our doors in 2007. Since that time, as of the end of this year, we will have selected over 700 students, and they will have earned $120 million in scholarship to our partner schools. And as you mentioned before, we partner with the top 100 colleges and universities. And in Atlanta, our scholars attend Bard College in upstate New York, Boston University, Brandeis University, the College of Worcester, at George Washington University, and Texas A&M.
Oh, wow. I've got a lot of questions for you. So let me start by the students that are involved. When did they get involved? At what point in their high school career do they get involved?
Yes, the students are typically nominated to us the end of their junior year. They're nominated to us through their high schools, through guidance counselors, principals, teachers, as well as other community-based organizations that work with high school age students. And so they begin an interview through what we call a dynamic assessment program process, that allows us to really identify those high achieving top level students through a 3-phase interview process that begins in August of their senior year. And we select students by December. So as we're speaking, we are in the process of selecting the next class of Posse scholars that will begin in January.
Wow. Now, you mentioned partner organizations. So are they organizations, say, like the Alfonso Johnson, what's their Game Changers, or, is it like specific Atlanta organizations that you feed from as well, or is it mostly
a nonprofit community-based organization that serves high school students who are juniors and seniors going off to college are eligible to nominate students for Posse. It's a matter of just contacting our office, expressing an interest in becoming a nominating organization, and you can, quickly nominate students during our nominating cycle, which opens in May and goes until early August.
That's awesome. So folks, if you're out there and you have students and you think should be nominated, right there, possefoundation.org, you can go there and find out all that information. 30 something years though, that the organization has been around. That's amazing. I got to wonder, who do we know that has come? I mean, you must have some famous people who have come through the organization now because of,
Well, there are quite a few. We have, Shirley Collado, who is the first alum, who's now the president of Ithaca College in upstate New York. We have, oh gosh, now you have me calling names, and I'm drawing a brain.
Well, that's okay. That's okay.
The general manager of the Cleveland Cavaliers is a part of Posse, or is a Posse alum. And just a number. I mean, we have over 6,000 alum, and not only is Posse in Atlanta, but we're in New York, we're in Boston, Chicago, Washington, D.C., New Orleans, Miami, Houston, L.A. We're also in San Francisco, the Bay Area. And we're now launching virtual Posse. So there'll be an opportunity from students from other cities to also participate in the Posse program.
So then if someone is in Atlanta and they get they get nominated, they get accepted, do they then have to go to an Atlanta school, or they get a scholarship to a partnering school at another state?
They do. They go primarily to the schools for which Posse Atlanta partners with. And so the 6 partnering universities that I just mentioned are the ones that our scholars go to in a Posse of 10.
And you're the director of Atlanta. Is there do you direct any other cities, or is it just Atlanta?
I don't, Atlanta, and that's a significant market for us as well. But there's a director in each one of the cities that I just mentioned, including a national veterans program.
And how, when it comes to, everything, does Posse Atlanta work very independently of Posse, or is everything very standardized?
We don't. We're one organization based out of New York, and we work together collectively as one organization. I just happen to be the director of the Atlanta office and oversee our program here.
And not to jump too far ahead, because I do want to talk about fundraising here in a minute. But when it comes to funding for the scholarships, et cetera, is it all go into one lump sum and then split up, or is it shared? Like, Atlanta gets what they get.
Yeah, so interestingly enough, the partnership from our colleges and universities, the benefit of those partnerships is that our partner schools provide the full 4-year leadership and merit-based scholarship. And so the funds that we raise money for locally provide support for all the other components of our program, including an 8-month pre-collegiate training program. We do 4 years of a campus program where we support scholars, not only once they get the scholarship, but also while they're on campus for the 4 years, ensuring that our scholars continue to graduate at a rate of 90%. We also have a really robust career program where we have career partners to provide internships and full-time opportunities. Post-graduation, we also have a really robust and growing graduate and fellowship program. So Posse also partners with several top graduate schools. So Posse scholars, once they graduate from their undergraduate institution, can go on to pursue a graduate degree at one of our partner institutions to receive a full and or partial scholarship. But they also can, go on to compete for competitive fellowships like the Fulbright. I'm proud to say in Atlanta, we've had 5 Fulbright recipients during that time, and over 30 or so other competitive fellowships from our students in Atlanta.
That's great. So the students do they need to be financially hardship? Do they need to have a need for the scholarship, or is it open to everyone's possibilities?
They do not. We are a leadership and merit-based scholarship, so we do not look at financial need. However, about 80% or so of our students are middle to lower income students.
Mm-hmm. And I love the fact, though, that you stick with them throughout, because I find that to be an interesting thing. I find a lot of organizations, they put the kids out there, they get them ready, they put them out there, the kids go, and then they're just, they don't know how to, they've never had money in the bank account to really manage before. They don't quite manage it well. So do you provide some guidance with some budgeting and some financial assistance, management rather?
We do develop some life skills in our scholars. So they get that not only through our programming, but they also get that when they're on campus for the first 2 years that they are at one of our partner institutions. They have a tenured faculty mentor who provides that first 2 years of support. And typically beyond the first 2 years, that mentor relationship will last beyond their matriculation at that institution. So there's a lot of support that they have. We also have career coaches that students can partner with. So there are a lot of layers of support for students.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And the fact that you're building tomorrow's leaders, when they graduate, are you following back up with them? And is there any post-graduation programming?
Yeah, we are. We also have a really robust alumni network that currently has over nearly 7,000 students all over the world, actually. And so each one of our Posse cities, we also do follow-up alumni activities locally to continue to engage our scholars and alum.
That makes a lot of sense. And it's going back to the idea of Posse, though, where you have 10 students creating a group together. I imagine that bond's got to be pretty tight. And what are some of the things that are done to really develop that?
Oh, we go through, when they become Posse scholars, during their senior year in January, they start out and they go through 8 months of pre-collegiate training program. And so during that 8 months, they're working with our trainers on staff. Once a week, they meet with their Posse, so they're forming group dynamics. We're talking about leadership, academic readiness. We have a writing program that we're continuing to prepare students for. They talk about everything from societal issues, some of those difficult conversations that we often as adults find difficult to have. Our scholars are having those conversations, and they're learning to respect views that are very different from theirs, learning to really advocate for themselves, also make sure that their voices are heard in conversations so that when they continue to be leaders on campus and beyond our academic institutions, that they continue to become leaders in the workforce. Ultimately, we're looking to change the face of leadership in this country that really mirrors the diversity that exists.
Yeah, well, the next fold we're gonna have is gonna take a lot of work and a lot of that right there. So you're on point.
Yeah.
This Posse though, are they all going to the same school eventually, or is the Posse actually just the scholarship? I mean, just this group, and then they go to their different schools?
Yeah, so we select 10 students, and typically there are 10 students in a Posse. So we select 10 students for each of our institutions, and that group of 10 students join an existing community at that school. It could be up to 40, it could be up to 80, 120 other students on that campus. And within that college campus, there's a Posse community on our respective campuses.
And how many students, you may have mentioned this, but how many students are getting awarded the scholarships a year? How many students enter a Posse a year, would you say?
So nationally,
yeah.
The number is over 700 students who are selected, and that includes all of our partner institutions. In Atlanta this year, we will select 50 students. In a typical year, we will select 60 students a year to receive the scholarship.
All right, now scholarships leads us to money. I mean, you have a money tree that you grow and water. I mean, how does all this funding work?
Listen,
where does it come from?
I'm shaking trees every day. And so fundraising is a real critical part of the work that we do. And as you hear most nonprofits, every dollar counts. So we benefit from the generous philanthropic community here in Atlanta, from individual foundation and corporate donors who support the work that we do here and help us to raise our budget annually. We also do an annual fundraising event, which you highlighted earlier, our Power of 10. And this year we did a Power of 10,000 because the significance of 2020 is that we will select in December our 10,000th scholar nationally.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. I just imagine like the confetti at the door when the person finds out, Yeah,
it's a very emotional, moment for a lot of students, because as you can imagine, with increasing cost of college and also just going away to college, this scholarship and the opportunity can be life-changing and transformational, not only for the Posse scholar, but also their families as well. So lots of tears are shed between now and going off to college in the fall.
And is there a foundation that that has been supportive for Posse throughout the years that comes to mind?
I mean, there are so many. There are almost just too many to really name. Yeah. So, but we have some really great supporters here just in Atlanta, as we do in each one of our other cities around the country.
And I imagine that Posse alum tend to be involved in giving later as they become the leaders and are successful.
Exactly, they do. I have a phrase that I often say: to whom much is given, much is expected. And so we do. Many of our scholars do come back, and they give her their time, their talent, and their treasure. So they volunteer. They come back and they speak to other scholars. They volunteer with a lot of our other activities, including career. But they also do donate financially to support Posse, and that's fantastic.
Yeah. And what about these students that got the scholarships, were so excited to go to college and live in a dorm and just have this life-changing experience, only to find out now they're going to be at home doing college in the living room?
Yeah, 2020 has been it's been rough, but I will tell you that I am very proud of the way that the Posse Foundation has really pivoted. We took everything virtual, from our 8 months of pre-collegiate training to the selection process of students. We've worked very closely with our university partners to ensure that our students are feeling supported, whether they are on our respective campuses or they're here in Atlanta doing distant learning. It has not been easy, but what I will say is that a lot of our scholars have really persevered and academically are still very strong.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, hopefully they'll be going to the whatever normal is. I don't know what the new norm, but hopefully they'll get that year back somehow.
Yes, exactly.
Well, that's great. Is there anything that we didn't cover or that we glanced over that you might want to bring back up or share?
I mean, I think that as we go into the end of the year and the holiday season, you mentioned fundraising, and it's so critical. We know that many nonprofits, are really struggling, but the generous gifts of donors, whether it's individual corporations or foundation, really makes a difference to the work that we do, and it gives us the ability to continue to make the impact that we're having here locally in Atlanta, but just across the board in supporting our scholars.
And folks, you can go to Posse Foundation right there on the bottom there, possefoundation.org. Great website, by the way. It's got a lot of information, and it's clean. And if it's just I obviously see a lot of websites. So your website was impressive. Folks, please definitely visit it.
Scholars.
It was. Oh, sorry. Say that again.
I said that it also highlights the number of our scholars and alum.
Yes. And your Facebook's loaded with photos. I mean, it was just that's where I pulled most of your photos from on the intro there. But awesome. It's like looking at them, like, wow, and everyone's livid. So, well, thank you so much. We always close our episodes by asking our guests to recommend a future guest. And is there an innovator in the Atlanta area in the nonprofit world that you'd like to recommend as a future guest?
Yeah, there are quite a few, but today I'd like to recommend Frank Brown. He's the CEO of Communities in School of Atlanta, another great organization. So hopefully he'll be a guest on one of your shows.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much. I look forward to the email intro. And Zenith, thank you so much for your time. I know you're busy, but I'm glad to have this opportunity for you to share about Posse and for me to learn about it. It's very fascinating, and I appreciate all the work that you do.
Thank you. And I appreciate all the work that you're doing to really highlight some really dynamic organizations in Atlanta. So thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, folks, we will be back Tuesday. And on Tuesday, we've got South Arts coming up. And then the rest of the calendar for December is we got South Arts, the Bremen Museum, Career Up Now, the Jewish Federation. And we close things off Tuesday the 22nd with Ladies of Flavor. Oh, sorry. That's right. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy your day and have a great weekend.